What's up? All right, let's rank some bullshit. Let's see. What is this? What is that? Okay, whatever. Let's start with the beefy 5 layer burrito. Right? You see that? Now, I think it's pretty epic. I feel like that's you know, it's, it's pretty epic. All right, red pandas actually peak, genuinely peak. Now, let's talk about Fortnite. I think it's pretty cool, but it's got some problems. You know, not really much more to be said there. All right, let's talk about domestic abuse. Not a big fan, personally. I think it's pretty lame. I might even say, actually, fuck this. You know what? I think I am. I'm going to say, fuck domestic abuse. Domestic abuse, bad. Very bad. All right. Non binary people. Let's put them in peak where they belong. Fuck. Come on. Come on. Come on. All right. I You're still people, so I can't put you above red pandas. But like, come on, it's red pandas, you know. All right, trans rights definitely peak. Um, you know what? I'm gonna put them with non-binary people. You know, just gonna bring it to the front. All right, yeah, it's just gonna go. Yeah, trans people, trans rights. All right, let's talk about Green Day's Nimrod. I think it's pretty epic. Definitely more epic than the beefy 5 layer burrito. I don't know if it's quite peak tier. You know what? It is. It's peak tier. It's not that high in peak though. All right, let's talk about women. Like, come on, women are awesome. It's women. You know. All right, let's talk about Marlboro Reds. I think, I think Marlboro Reds are lame. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think they're lame. All right, let's talk about Hollow Knight. I think I think it's. I mean, it's definitely up here. Like, let's move that out of the way. Let's put Hollow Knight in here. Let's bring this to the front. Hold on. Yeah. All right. I don't want to cover up women though, because women are pretty important. All right. What do we got here? What is this? This is white supremacy. Definitely worse than domestic violence. Still, domestic violence, fuck that. That's bad. It's bad, guys. All right. Just because you're not a white supremacist, but you are a domestic violence person who beats your wife, just because you're anti-racist, it doesn't mean that you can beat your wife. I know it's really disappointing, but like, it's still just not chill. Beating your wife is not cool. Beating your kids, pretty lame. All right. Speaking of racism, though, let's talk about this now. I gotta put it like with white supremacy, right? But I think I gotta put it like a little bit ahead of it because, like, let's be honest here, racism is the root of white supremacy, or is it the other way around? I actually don't. Well, because I mean, like, because you can be prejudiced towards white people, but like, you're it's not. It's the same thing. It's not racism towards white people unless it's systematic, you know? So I don't know if I can put that. I'm just going to put them on top of each other like that. I think that's fair because they're both bad things. Not a huge racism fan. I know. Shocker. All right, let's talk about lightsabers. This is cool as shit. I love lightsabers. I like it's fucking lightsabers. Like, come on. Like, I'm putting them. I'll put them above Hollow Knight. You know, it's like it's fucking lightsabers. Lightsabers are awesome. All right, there's lightsabers. Um, let's talk about Newport. Newports. I'll put them. I'll put them with Hollow Knight and lightsabers. I think they're around there. You know, and how epic they are. You know what? No, they're bad for you though. So like, I do love them, but they are bad for you. So I'm gonna put them into, yeah, I'll put them above Fortnite for sure. I mean, the beefy 5 layer is pretty bad for you too, probably. And it's also, you know what? Actually, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna swap these. Yeah, Newport's above the beefy 5 layer for sure. All right, let's talk about Nintendo as a company. All right, what is this? I can't read that. It's too small. Oh, neoliberalism. I'm just gonna put the uh oh. Just gonna put that in the fuck this tier. All right. Let's talk about bugs. That's what this is. Bugs isn't bugs. I think bugs are pretty cool for the most part. They have some problems. I have some problems with bugs, but I'll put them there, covering up the beefy 5 layer burrito. All right. Let's talk about Zionism. Woohoo! Let's put this right here. I don't really know if I feel comfortable putting it below white supremacy because it's just like, yeah, this is all like rooted in the same stuff, you know. It's, yeah, you know what I mean. It's just like, okay, let's talk about weed. Let's talk about marijuana. I mean, that's the whole reason I'm making this video to begin with. So like, like it's got to go like at least like up here, you know. Definitely not better than women though. You know, I'll put them with lightsabers. I think weed is like, you know, lightsabers, weed, pretty cool, you know, fucking awesome. All right, let's do that. Can I do like transparency or something? That's too much work. I'm not doing that. Let's just do that there. All right, cocaine. Now, I used to be a big fan of this stuff, right? Cocaine, very fun, but there are some problems. Unfortunately, I know. There's problems with cocaine. Who would have thought? Like, don't get addicted to cocaine, but it's really fun. So I'm gonna put it at the bottom of the pretty cool but has some problems tier. Speaking of that tier, Iron Man 3, definitely above Fortnite, probably below the beefy 5 layer. I think that makes sense. All right. 9/11. definitely bad. Definitely a bad thing. 9/11, bad. Like, come on, it's 9/11. Like, all right, here we go. Marxism, Leninism. I'm gonna put it in between no, I'm gonna put it in pretty epic. I'm not gonna put it in pretty cool. It has some problems. There are technically like some problems with it, but like, I think it's pretty epic, you know. Radical feminism. Obviously, it's not better than women because, you know, it wouldn't exist without women. So I'm just gonna put it there, you know. What is this? What is this supposed to be? That's a baby. Oh, that's turfs. Yeah. Okay. Uh, Definitely turfs going in the. Yeah, I'll put them above 9/11. They're definitely not, you know, 9/11 levels of bad. You know, they still like I think that if they just learned a little and just were like a little kinder, they'd be chill. You know. You know what? Yeah, I'll put them with domestic abuse. I think that's a good spot for them. This is fascism. I'm gonna put this right behind neoliberalism, as it's like its mask, you know, because that's what it is. That's what neoliberalism is. It's just fascism, but disguised. My Little Pony. I feel like it goes here. Enough said, you know. What is this? Is this the patriarchy? Yes, it is. All right. That's going with racism and right here. Fuck that stuff. Not a big fan. All right, here we have men. And I'll be honest with you, I think that's a pretty good spot. I think they'd be I think men would be happy to be, next to cocaine in Fortnite. That's pretty cool. They got Iron Man 3 in the BF5 layer. Bugs. You got bugs in there. Bugs are pretty cool. All right. Genocide. Just going to put that right there. That is bad. What is this? Is this alcoholism or alcohol? You know what? I'm going to say it's both. And I'm going to put it a little bit ahead of cocaine. Now, I'm going to put it ahead of men, actually. Like, I don't think any boys are going to be upset that I think alcoholism is a little more epic than men. They're all alcoholics anyways. Is that like a overgeneralization? Should I not have said that? Whatever. Whatever. Okay, we got Marlboro Golds. Not a big fan, but they're definitely better than Reds. I'm going to put them behind cocaine. I'd definitely rather do cocaine than smoke a Gold, but like I won't say no to a Gold, you know what I mean? And sometimes I'll like want a Gold, instead of a Newport. And it's like, yeah. All right, what is this? Religion? I'm going to put this behind the beefy 5-layer burrito. I think that makes sense. I like this. This is my tier list.